You're going to leave going out with today. The nature of a sound system and subtractive EQing.
Okay.
Okay. First, the nature of a sound system. Do you have your piece of paper there?
Yeah.
Here's if I use the term linear, do you know what that means? Linear. Very simply, linear,
like flat.
Straight line.
Okay, straight line, there you go.
Okay? Every sound system, from the smallest to something at the carrier dome, right?
Yeah.
Uses the same premise.
Okay.
And a linear chain of events. First, you have a sound source. Okay? Sound source. Okay? Sound source could be anything. Me talking into a microphone, plug in a keyboard, a mic in front of a kick drum, an MP3 player.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's your sound source. That source is a signal. And that signal goes from a start to an end. Now the end of the signal is a speaker, right?
Yeah.
That takes an electric, impulse and turns it into something that our ears determines as sound. Okay? That said, Wayne, how are we doing? We okay?
Yeah, I got a sticky note.
So, yeah, at the end of this train, it turns it into signal into something the ears can do as speakers. Now, this signal starts off as a small signal and gets better. And just basically, the first thing it goes into is a preamp, okay, and then a power amp, okay.
Is this considered the preamp?
This is the preamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, a board, a mixer is a preamp. Then it goes into a power amp, and you can separate it from there, low, mids, highs, or do it here, but we won't get that sophisticated yet, okay, or even today. But with this preamp, you can take this signal, you can do a lot of different things besides give it tone control. You can compress it, you can limit it, you can put reverb on it or effects. So the signal at this point, right, is very small, and that's when you'll modify it in the way that you want. Now, the next another concept that goes in with this is the concept of a carpenter and his hammer. Okay? When a carpenter uses a hammer, he can use it constructively or destructively. Same thing with all these tools. Okay?
Yeah.
You can use them constructively or destructively. And we're here so you can use them constructively. Yeah. Now, the biggest thing with this signal going in here that you're amplifying is you want, for a sound system, you want to keep it clean, of course. You want clarity.
Yes.
Not muffled. A opposite of that would be a hard rock guitarist playing through a Marshall. What does he want his sound to be? Distorted.
All right.
Okay. Now, are you the guitar? You're guitar. No. Okay.
I play acoustic, but not like that.
Simply, what guitar players do with their preamp and their power amp, they'll overdrive. You've heard that. The preamp, give that distortion, and then amplify it. That gives you the Marshall sound.
Okay.
Right? Guess what sound we do not want in a PA system?
Distortion.
Thank you. We don't want that Marshall sound.
Right.
How do we use the tools to keep that sound clean? Okay? Well, let's just go over to this simple board right here. Now, with any mixer, you do not have like a mixer. This one is it's like 6 channels and like 4 stereos. And I've seen mixers 64 channels and beyond.
I think ours is 30. So.
Yeah, whatever. The good news about multi-channel mixers is this: once you know one channel, you know them all. Okay. Because they're just duplicated down there. Now on this simple mixer right here, if you looked at it quick, or a novice looked at this, he would say, oh, there's only one volume control, but there's actually 3. Okay? First, the signal, we'll follow it. It comes into this input, and they have an input gain on here. And then the channel has a volume, and then this doesn't have any subgroups, but if it did, that'd be another volume. And then you got some master volumes here. So this particular one has 3 different volumes what you can play with. Okay? The first gain control, very, very important. And some bigger meters will have bigger mixers will have a meter that you can actually see. This one, I think, has a, does this have the, no, this doesn't. But some have a little light on them that if you're overdriving it, it will go red. But the reason they got this right at the beginning is because of the sound sources. Not all sound sources are created equal. Right? Let's take a mic, even with a microphone. Me talking into a microphone like this is going to be a different level going into here than that same microphone in front of a kick drum.
Right.
The signal's going to go like that. Now, again, getting back to our distortion factor, what we don't want for that signal is to become distorted. So our first line of defense is setting the gain properly for the type of input you have. Very simple.
So these aren't necessarily all going to be the same.
Of course not, okay. Because are all your inputs going to be the same?
Right, okay, I got you. Right.
If they all are, they'll be the same. If they're not, they'll be different.
Right. You may have all your vocalists set to approximately the same gain.
Exactly. Then we're going to get back. The EQ is going to be the second part. Very important. Then you got a volume here and a volume here. Now, all mixers, they have what they call a unity gain, right? And this is where the mixer's components are set, where they'll be most effective. Now, just for a second.
So that would be the U, obviously.
Where's the U?
But the U's right there. There's the U and there's the
gotcha.
U. But just for a second, let's just simplify things and take a visual look at our channel volume and our master volume. Right now, they're equal. If this was a Marshall, right, it might look like this, you know, where everything is distorted. Conversely, if you wanted to get a clean signal, this is more of an optimum. So, rule number 1, never run your channel volumes louder than your master main volumes.
Okay.
Now, going down the line to your power amps, they should always be at 10. Crank them on 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put them all on 10.
Okay.
Okay? So, any questions so far?
So the power amp in my jam room we have a Mackie board like this. I'd have my powered speakers all the way up.
Sure.
Okay.
You might. What make are those?
They're the Mackie thumps that you got sitting.
Oh yeah. Put them on about 3/4.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then control your volume on them on here, but never have these louder than this.
So my guitar, an acoustic guitar, should be set all the way up.
About 3/4.
Okay.
That's about the unity.
I don't
gain.
understand what's the what are we putting all the way up then? What you said your power amps that are outside.
Well, yeah, like if you had like a normal stereo power amp for your PA system, I would run that on 10.
Gotcha. All right.
The thumper is a little bit different.
Yep.
10 is a little bit too much for those powered speakers. We run them at 3/4.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
So basically, this has no power, and the other thing has the power. You turn the power up on that. You run the
and you run the masters higher.
Run the fine tuning here.
Yeah, you run the masters higher than the individual channels. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, pretty easy so far, right?
I think we're working with at the church. We're working with a big Mackie board that's powered.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Right.
Because it's a big.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll look into that a little more.
There's a power amp on it. Turn those volumes on 10. Okay.
Tweak it here.
Right. Now, so this is your signal flow because the theory is to a summary for signal flow. If you, all this equipment stuff is pretty dumb. Do what you tell it. If you enter distortion at an early stage here, it's just going to amplify distortion.
Okay.
So you don't want to start out with distortion.
Right.
Because it's just going to amplify it. So, that's part one. Any questions?
Nope.
You're ready for part two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part two gets even better and it's even easier.
Okay.
Subtractive EQing. And this separates the pros from the amateurs. Okay?
Okay.
If you leave with anything here today, if you know the concept of subtractive EQing, you're going to be ahead of 50% of the so-called sound men out there. Okay? And I'm going to show it to you on two levels. I'm going to show it to you on a board EQ and a graphic EQ. I'm going to pull up. EQs in there. Let's go over here. I got to leave this out anyhow because I got to add a reverb guy.
Okay. Oh, that did Bill finish that?
We're almost done. We're doing great. Huh? Oh! Take off the lid. Okay, but here. There we go. Whoop. Actually, I'm going to do that off anyway. Okay. Red always goes to the front. Great. You've seen these before,
Yep.
right? This right here. Flat. That's called flat. In the audio business, we're just going to deal with the top one. This is the most abused piece of equipment in the world. Okay? And you actually have one on your board here. Okay? And we've got these set in the center. And that's important, just like we have these set in the center.
Yep.
Are we ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Simple concept. Let's say I plug a microphone in here, right? And I go, check 1, 2. And you say to me, hey Phil, sounds clean. We got this set. However, I think I want a little, your voice sounds too trebly. But, it needs more bass in your voice. What would you do to the EQ?
Turn up the bass.
Or the opposite, turn
got
down
it.
Turn the
treble.
Exactly. Now, that's subtractive EQing.
But we always start out on, you like to start out in the middle.
Always.
Yep.
So, if I'm talking check 1, 2, 1, 2, and it says, hey, need more bass in your voice, what you don't want to do is turn up the bass. You want to decrease the treble.
Okay.
Just the opposite. If you want more treble, right, decrease the bass.
Okay.
Okay. Now, believe it or not, where are my notes?
Subtractive EQ.
Yeah, it's real easy. You'll be ahead of 50% of the DJs and sound guys out there just by knowing that concept. It also ties in, see, sound is physics, but it also ties in to the signal thing, right? These tone controls, right, are actually fixed points, and when you turn it up, you're actually let's say we're turning the bass up here, right? Well, you're actually giving it more signal in the bass. And what happened when we talked about giving more signal? You can actually take a chance of distortion.
Right.
Right? At a point, you don't want to decrease the signal. So again, subtractive EQ is an extremely important concept. And I'm going to show you on this EQ in a minute.
If we're adding a little treble by taking away a little bass,
yeah.
do we sometimes have to then tweak this?
Use your ear.
Yeah. Sometimes that'll have to come up a little bit or something.
Use your ear. Your ears are better than any electronic thing you can think of.
Right.
The human ear. You just got to know what to listen for. And after we get done with subtractive EQing, I'm going to give you some tips on what to listen for. Okay? And some physics of sound. Now, just another thing very quickly, and you see on EQ, and I don't have my glasses, but you see these numbers here at the bottom?
Yeah.
What does that say? 1 point? I can't read that.
He's got the better eyes.
Let's see, 12 kilohertz or KHZ.
Okay, yeah, it's 1.2, and that one says what's that?
That is 2.5.
2.5. Okay, these are fixed points, and what's that bottom one say?
It says 80
80 hertz. Okay, this corresponds to like that knob right there corresponds to this right here. If I go up, that's what that's doing. If I go down, that's what that's doing.
Okay.
Okay? So you only got 3 of these things on your tone.
Right.
3
So
points.
if it says 80, then it's going to correspond with the 80 on that
And
mixer.
we don't even know if we have anything like that
Okay.
at the church.
Okay.
We may be limited to this.
Now,
But it seems like there's more knobs at the church, like more of these little.
yeah, there's probably auxiliaries and stuff like this, but we're just getting a basic clean
Yeah.
sound. You start out with that, and you're miles ahead. So, this is a sophisticated set of this, where you can really tweak what you need to tweak frequency-wise. And there's actually, hey Wayne, where's that frequency chart? Oh, all the, remember that piece of paper that you wanted for,
Right here.
yeah.
This
I'll make a
is
photocopy.
Yeah, make one for you
Yeah.
too. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Check it
This
out.
You see this graph right here? These are cycles per second, right? And these are various things. Like, see a male vocal? Like a male vocal only is going to go down to about here, and only going to go up to, what is it, 988? Somewhere about in there, 1,000 K.
Right.
You see? And, different instruments. A kick drum, if you're EQing a kick, most of your kick is going to be down in that range. That's where the, in the 80s, it goes out, if you really, and a bass guitar, and I'll make a little copy. This is just a little, female vocal goes up a little higher in the spectrum. The numbers represents cycles per second.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Just a measurement. Okay. So, and I'll make you a copy of this to take with you. Just a little, reference. What you never want to do, and sometimes when we send out a rental, we'll take a piece of tape and tape this right here so they can't go up. Because if you start moving this stuff up into this range, right, distortion.
Yeah. And how many times have they come back with all those things pushed all the way up to the top?
Yeah.
Yeah. And whatever.
So, any questions on subtractive EQing?
No,
We're almost done.
That's pretty cool.
Well, it's physics. I can't even take credit for it.
Yeah.
Third and final, we're going to talk about some basic concepts of sound. Okay. And again, I've never spent school in this. I learned the hard way.
Yeah, me too.
But sound is all physics, and it's affected, by various physical things. Okay, temperature. Okay, airspace, density, reflection. Okay. To give you an example, you can, let's say a band is in a room and there's no people in the room, right? And you do a sound check and you're doing all your EQing, etc. Have you ever noticed the place gets filled with people, the sound changes?
Yeah.
Why is that? Number of reasons. Well, first, the airspace in the room has changed.
Yeah.
You have bodies in there. Also, what are those human bodies doing?
Absorbing.
Absorbing.
Not only they're absorbing, they're also breathing, and the temperature goes up. And that affects, okay? Also, first thing when you go into a room, when I go into the room, I look around, and I look at the surfaces, okay? And I look for reflective surfaces. Concrete reflects.
Yeah.
Okay? Obviously, if you got walls with tapestry or that, that won't reflect. Okay? Obviously, the less reflection, the better.
Right. Sheetrock reflects. We have a lot of sheetrock.
Yeah, exactly. But, you can deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm trying to, without getting... You really want to listen, okay, to a room, and I guess your main thing, like you're micing a band, and that's what you're having your issues with. Okay. What I would do, and first I would kind of EQ. You don't have an EQ like this, do you?
No. Not on the band, and I don't think we have it at the church.
I don't know what we have there.
Yeah. Well, if you have an EQ like this, what I would do is I would take a sound source, an MP3 of a song you really know well. You can't do this with anybody there. You got to have just some peace, right? And run it through one of the channels. Keep everything flat. And what I would do with this music playing, that doesn't have to be loud, is get yourself familiar with what these frequencies mean on the EQ in relationship to what you're hearing. Like the 1000 cycle is a very honky sound, So if you're getting like a honky in a vocal or something, you just decrease this and it should go away. But every time you turn a knob on the board for tone or on an EQ, be aware of what you're doing. Listen. Just listen carefully.
Okay.
And so if this was applied to this system, this wouldn't override this, but this would affect all the channels at once.
You bet. This they use to tune a room with.
Gotcha.
So if your room has acoustic differences, it's not all, nothing's flat unless you're kind of outside. Then you're pretty much flat.
Yeah.
And who knows how your system's designed. Each cabinets have different characteristics, et cetera, et cetera. But this would tune in your space,
They've gotten rid of all of the cabinets in the church and gone pretty much straight through the board, except for the bass. And they do have a sub.
Okay. And that's a good thing. So you're telling me there's like everybody's kind of like direct.
Right.
Except for the bass and the drums.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's a good thing because you have more control.
Well, the drums are direct now because they're enclosed.
Well, the drums are inside an enclosure.
But you were saying, how do they sound? You said they sound like crap?
Yeah, they sound like they're under a hat or
drummer?
something. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, again, you can go on YouTube and find out how to tune drums. How are we doing for time, Wayne?
You're fine.
Load the truck.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can... did you guys want a quick drink?
No, I'm set. Thank you.
But remember what I said? Your sound is only going to be as good as the source.
Yes.
And especially if you're micing the drums, we always like to get the drums as dead as possible. Okay.
Yep.
And again, I'm not a drummer. I don't know how to tune them, but
I do.
Then you're fine. So as long as your source is good, you got a good starting point.
Yeah, we get the drums as dead as possible, and then what?
Well, you might...
And then tweak them here?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And start one at a time. If you got a mic on the kick, start quarter notes on the kick drum.
Seems like once we get that set, it should be good.
Yeah. And again, room's going to sound different.
They do. They have a Pearl export set in there.
Okay.
It's so it's not like a wooden drum set.
Right. That's okay. You can doctor them.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in an environment. And we do tricks with backline, and I've seen drummers do with heads. From just taking a little piece of duct tape. I've seen them. We've used. I did Max Weinberg. I've seen him take. He requested when I provided the DW kit. Those Dr. Scholl pads he put on his drum heads.
From Bruce Springsteen?
Yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of tricks acoustic, but you got to use your ears. But the deader you get them, the more control. Because if you've got a ring and a microphone picking up the ring,
Right.
you've got a ringy drum to start out with. Then you got to get rid of the ring somehow in here.
Okay.
So the deadness starts in the drum,
Well, it's a
in the
great
room.
starting point
Yeah.
with any sound source, right, Wayne?
Exactly right. Yeah. And depending on the mics you're also using
Oh
for
yeah,
the kick drum
and the placement.
the placement.
You can go
right.
online, and
Yeah.
there's some great YouTube videos. We live in an information society.
Yeah.
Sure.
But always use your ears.
Yeah.
Use your ears, and do it in a controlled environment. The time to do this is not 5 minutes before you're going on. Okay, let's get a good drum sound.
Or
You're
2 hours
rushed.
before the show.
Exactly. Go in there when you got some time and you can relax, right?
Yeah.
And listen. Believe it or not, it's time consuming, but if you take the time to do it, it'll be a great learning experience. And once you learn it, you just keep on learning and learning.
And in a place like the church where the environment doesn't change very much.
Right, except when people come in. Exactly.
Yeah, you should be able to set it and
Really
then
hold
leave it.
down.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be able to really just use your ears.
Yeah.
Boy, any questions? I don't want to get too complicated.
No, we got some basic learning to
Yeah,
do back
basic.
there.
That's all it is.
And if they do want you after tax season to come out, what would you charge?
I don't know. I'm not schooled in this. I learned the hard way, and I don't even consider myself a good sound engineer because my ears are shut. I can only probably hear up to, I don't know which range up here.
Right. I wondered that being around all the sound stuff.
Oh,
with you.
of course. And I used to play in a rock band. They had
I saw that.
Marshalls and you name it.
Yeah.
So, hey, Mike.
Everything's for
There's a
sale.
good sound guy.
Yeah,